Hi, I'm Roger G. My wife Lynn and I took 1,088 pictures on a coach tour called Romantic Villages of Alpine Europe. This slideshow contains 104 photos from my camera and one that I found on the internet. I took this picture of the Matterhorn when we visited Zermatt. Lynn and I took the pre-trip extension to Lake Como. We stayed at the Hotel Regina Olga in Chernobyl. We ordered pizza with rocket on it, and we found out it's the green stuff. We took a ferry ride to Como. I love this picture of two kids in the town square. The other picture was of Bonnie, Laqueta, Lynn, and me waiting for the ferry ride back to Chernobyl. I like this picture because it represented daily living in Italy. We took a ferry ride on Lake Como to Bellagio. The upper left photo was of my favorite villa along the lake. The lower left photo is of George Clooney's villa. I found it on the internet. My favorite picture is of the steps in Bellagio going down past the tiny shops. The middle picture was of a house designed to look like a miniature Gothic cathedral. The flags on the balcony showed that Italy was in the European Union. Our first stop in Milan was at La Scala Opera House. It was larger than it looked outside. The inside view from the balcony was impressive. These were pictures inside the upscale Galleria. We learned that it was one of the world's oldest shopping malls. I waited until the light was right to photograph Italy's largest cathedral. This was the first meeting for everyone on the tour. Some had not yet received their luggage. We took a pleasant train ride up to Santa Maria Maggiore. We learned that the headquarters for the International Chimney Sweep Association was in this town. We also learned why small boys were put to work at a really young age, and that was unfortunate. On this day, we visited 3 islands that belonged to the Borromeo family. We were allowed to take pictures in the gardens on this island. My picture of the girls was my favorite. This island had to do with fishing. We had fish for lunch here. On the previous weekend, Beatrice, the daughter of the Borromeo family, had married Pierre, a royal from Monaco. We think that this was the island where the wedding reception was held. That's Jerry and Rosie on the boat there. This train was manufactured in Andrea's hometown. In Sacromonte, we learned that the church and 21 chapels here were dedicated to the life of St. Francis of Assisi. We were surprised at how thin St. Francis was. We also learned that Paul loves to restore motorcycles. This is my favorite view of Giulio Island in Lake Orta. In the picture on the right, Andrea is talking to Frank, Michelle, and Tony outside a shop that reminded me of a small New York deli. The photo on the left is of our group eating some delicious lasagna for lunch. Our first rest stop in Switzerland had some great scenery. Both of these pictures were taken with a Matterhorn in the background. This was Mimi at the Grimsel Pass. I love the turquoise color of the water in this river. This was the oldest house in Interlaken. I was surprised at the amount of firewood stored at the farm we visited. Much of it was for sale. The girls here were holding a cowbell trophy, won for best in breed at a recent fair. This painting was about taking cows to the upper pastures for the summer. The farmers brought them back for the winter. We visited a wood carving workshop in Lake Breens. We carved and painted miniature cows. Cecilia did an excellent job on hers. Our home-hosted dinner was in a beautiful setting. Rosemary prepared a traditional meal that was absolutely delicious. I photographed Michelle and Frank walking up lots of steps to get to the top. The pictures that I took did not communicate the loud thunder caused by so much water crashing down inside the mountain. Later that day, we took a train up to Klein Scheidegg at 6,762 feet. I struggled to get decent pictures at that height. My favorite picture was taken on the way back down the mountain. We visited Vaduz, the capital of Liechtenstein. We then went to Triesen to visit the only distillery in that country. We learned that it produced rye whiskey. This photo reminded me of a mini Stonehenge. This steam train built in 1888 reminded us of the little engine that could. I think I can, I think I can, I thought I could, I thought I could. We took a ferry boat to the end of Achensee Lake for a Tyrolean dinner. We learned that the statue illustrated two people looking for invaders. The bridge was over the Inn River. This arch looked like it was borrowed from Paris. These photos of the altar and ceiling were taken inside the town's Baroque-style cathedral, and they were just beautiful. Here were Bonnie, Anne, Lynn, me, Laqueta, and Michelle waiting for lunch. This was the theater where the Passion Play had been performed every 10 years. I'm not sure that I looked mean enough to play a Roman soldier. This was the table used for the Last Supper in the Passion Play. Bonnie was clearly not the Roman soldier type. The inside of this palace was modeled after Versailles. Photos were not allowed. The outside looked to me like the Summer Palace in St. Petersburg. The museum in the center photo covered 300 years of making violins. This is one of the best Grand Circle Travel farewell dinners that we had ever attended. On the right were Cecilia and Michelle, and Linda and Don. Here's Jean, Bob, and Kay, and Bill and Lydia, and Sharon and Bill, and Mimi, David, and Jim, Art and Linda, Sylvia and Charlie, Gloria and Kevin, Anne and David, Lynn and Bonnie, and Laqueta and me, Charlie and Kathy, Rosie and Jerry, Nancy and Paul, Tony and Frank, Andrea and Mabel, and Gail and Barbara. Bill was checking out the widget that went bang. Gloria here is leading the conga line. Laqueta is bringing up the rear, and Anne finished her beer. This castle was commissioned by Ludwig II of Bavaria. Walt Disney made this castle famous. I joked that if I farted, I would blame it on these horses. Well, one of the horses farted a whole lot. I had to swear it wasn't me. That's all, folks.